Do beg your pardon there. In other news, we tell you that President Ali on Friday called an urgent press conference at the Lenora Track and Field Center in the west coast of Demerara, where the government hosted a two-day outreach. The invitation to the press was issued at 1:30 p.m. for the 3 p.m. engagement. Due to the late notice, there are only 5 reporters at the event, including one from the Guyana Chronicle, 2 from Kaieteur News, 1 from Stabroek News, and another from the Department of Public Information. Notably, the persons who were at the outreach joined the tent in which the president decided to host his media. The atmosphere was unwelcoming to members of the press who were subjected to heckling from the supporters of the PPP, particularly when challenging questions were asked of the head of state. For instance, the question asked by Kaieteur News relating to the oil and gas sector were greeted by a loud quote-unquote "Oh Lord" from one of the party's supporters. This can even be heard in the live Facebook broadcast. The question was regarding the audit of ExxonMobil's expenses. The president, in response, explained that he would address the subject at an appropriate time. Nevertheless, the journalist asked another question of the president amidst laughter from the gathering of PPP supporters. Similarly, a question from another Kaieteur News reporter was heckled by the crowd, prompting the president to close off the press engagement. Kaieteur News publisher Glenn Lal believes Ali has little intent on addressing the critical issues, but called an urgent press conference to promote the work of his government. President of the Guyana Press Association Nazima Ragabir strongly criticized the circumstances under which the president hosted the media. Ragabir noted that if the government and president in particular wish to engage the media, it must be in an environment that is both conducive and professional. Contrary to that, she said that what occurred at Lenora was a demonstration of no regard for the media. Addressing the mere hour and a half notice for the media to attend the press conference Region 3, the Press Association president said it was a slap in the face. She pointed out that the PPP signed that the Media Freedom Coalition and there are certain principles which the government ought to uphold, one of which is basic respect for the press. The GPA president said both political parties prefer not to answer the tough questions, adding that this is now evident through their hiding behind TV programs and friendly media programs and their social media commentators' interviews. We tell you now that the government of Guyana yesterday announced that the Natural Resource Fund has received a total of $377.1 million in oil revenue so far for last year. Through the official gazette dated March 31, 2023, the Ministry of Finance provided a detailed breakdown on the sums received thus far for the petroleum sector. The NRF legislation passed in the National Assembly in December 2021 makes it mandatory for deposits to the fund to be made public. Even as the resource trickle in, it must be noted that the lopsided ExxonMobil oil contract has been criticized for the abusive provision in place that allow for more benefits to the contractor. Citizens have been calling for the deal to be renegotiated to ensure Guyana secures more value for its light sweet crude. The country's first comprehensive diabetic center was on Saturday opened at Lusiknan on the east coast of Demerara. The $50 million Guyana center located in the compound of the Lusiknan Health Center is set to offer holistic care to diabetic patients from Lusiknan and other central locations along the east coast of Demerara. Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony said the initiative is geared towards reducing the instances of fatalities caused by diabetes. He disclosed that the prevalence of diabetes in Guyana is quote-unquote relatively high, with some 50,000 people living with the disease. Residents of Lenora Parish in Region 3 and FIDA received land titles, giving them legal ownership of the lands they occupied. The titles were handed over to the resident by President Irfan Ali during the last day of the Office of the President Direct Outreach at the Lenora Track and Field Facility on Friday. This resolved the 100-year land issue. This resolution was made possible by the concentrated efforts of the Guyana Lands and Surveys Commission, the Central Housing and Planning Authority, and the Land Registrar that worked diligently to expedite the process. Chief of Staff of the Guyana Defense Force, Brigadier Godfrey Bress, on Saturday assured the force is maintaining domains at the Kaieteur River Region 7 which borders Venezuela. The Chief of Staff's assurance followed a shootout between members of the Venezuelan National Guard Armed Forces and GDF ranks in the Kaieteur River Region 7 at the end of February 2023. Brigadier Best is confirming the incident and said that the Defense Force continues to dominate the Kaieteur River. Although the Chief of Staff did not disclose information of the incident, we understand that the incident occurred between Bang and the Kaieteur River, and Guyana's Foreign Affairs Ministry has since reportedly engaged the Venezuelan government on matter, and according to information, the Venezuelan guards involved have been removed from their posts at the border. And just before we wrap things up, we turn your attention to the page 7 of the Kaieteur News, dedicated to being blunt. That is titled that is titled U.S. Embassy Security Alert. The U.S. Embassy announced a high alert due to the threat against its interests. It is our hope that those threats will be managed and all will be well. The U.S. is rightly concerned about its interests. We are the Guyanese leaders concerned about their threats to Guyanese interests. It would be a real positive if the U.S. Embassy would express concerns about the real threats and real dangers to the interests of Guyanese. And with that, we've come to the end of your main newscast for today, Sunday, April 2nd, 2023. For these stories and much more, head across to our website at www.kaieteurnewsonline.com or pick up a copy of the Kaieteur News at a newsstand near you for just $100 Guyana Monday to Saturday and Sundays for $150 Guyana. I'm Joshua Van Slykeman. Thank you for joining us. Have a great remainder of your day. Remember you join us here on Kaieteur Radio all day long as our anniversary celebration continues with lots to be given away. Stay with us.